Yes, the atmosphere in the house was summer-like, and Laurie has taken Joe to the library, where she clapped her hands, looking at the books and the huge number of books. She clapped her hands and danced. Pranced means danced in happy mood, as she always did. It was her habit to dance and clap her hands when especially delighted. When she becomes delighted at that time, she always claps her hands and dances. So it was lined with books. It was that library was lined with books, and there were pictures and statues as well in the library, and distracting little cabinets full of coins and curiosities, and sleepy hollow chairs, large and deep armchairs, where easily we can sleep. So hollow chairs and queer tables, a different kind of tables and branches. And best of all, a great open fireplace in the library with quaint tiles all round it. Dear students, next, with richness, sighed Joe, sinking into the depth of a armchair, and gazing about her with an air of intense satisfaction, looking at the books and sitting placements and tables. He became very satisfied. Says Theodore Lawrence, you ought to be the happiest boy in the world. Theodore Lawrence, one of the philosophers, uh, is being applied to Laurie. Theodore Lawrence, you ought to be the happiest boy in the world. She added impressively. A fellow can't live on books. A fellow can't live on books, said Laurie. But Laurie says we just cannot live on books, shaking his head as he perched on a table opposite. He takes support of the table. Before he could say more, a bell rang, and Joe flew up. When the doorbell rang, she flew up. She came upstairs, exclaiming with alarm, "Mercy me, it's your grandfather." Earlier, she said that she is not afraid of anything, but now little frightening is there in her mind. She expressed or exclaimed, saying that, "Mercy me, it's your grandpa." Well, what if it is? What if it is? Don't worry. If it is grandpa, don't worry. You are not afraid of anything. So this is the point you have been caught by Dory, right? Because sometime earlier or sometime ago, just sometime ago, she told that she is not afraid of anything. And that's why he says, you don't worry about anything because you are not afraid of anything. You know, return the boy. Looking wicked means a playful mischievous. This is the statement made by him playfully or mischievous. I think I'm a little bit afraid of him. Now she accept. I think I'm a little bit afraid of him, of your grandpa. I don't know. Why should I be? But I don't know why should I be afraid of him. Marmy said, I might come, and I don't think you are any the worse for it. So Marmy said that she would come there, and you might not be any problem for her arrival, said Joe, composing herself. Composing herself, uh, balancing herself, calm and settle oneself and one's thoughts. Though she kept her eyes on the door because by that door the grandpa was to come, the doorbell was rang. rung. Hmm. I'm a great deal better for it, and even so, and ever so much obliged. I'm only afraid of you are very tired of talking to me. I think that you are tired of talking to me. It was so pleasant I couldn't bear to stop, said Laurie gratefully. Now, the doctor to see you, sir. And the maid beckoned as she spoke. The doctor to see you, sir. Actually, who was there at the gate instead of grandfather? One doctor was there, and one maid servant came there and directed Laurie. The doctor wanted to see you. The doctor wanted to meet you. Who was there at the door now? The doctor. And firstly, Joe thought that it was, or there might be grandpa, but instead, doctor was there. He came there to see or to visit Lord. Would you mind if I left you for a minute? Now she is taking leave of her for a minute to see the doctor. I suppose I must see him. I must see him. That means I must meet doctor, said Lord. Don't mind me. I'm happy as a cricket here, answered to Joe. So I'm happy to be here. The time is very nice. Laurie went away. Now Laurie went away to see the doctor, and his guest amused herself in her own way. And now Jo left on her own, and she is amused. She was standing before a fine portrait of the old gentleman. She stood and she stood in front of the old gentleman when the door opened again, and without turning, she said decidedly. So, one more time, the door opened, and without turning, without looking at the gate, she said decidedly what she says. I am sure now that I shouldn't be afraid of him. Now she start talking to herself about grandfather. And when the second time the door was opened, actually at that time, the grandfather is. And without turning to the gate, she starts talking about grandfather, saying that I'm sure now that I shouldn't be afraid of him. So I'm sure that I shouldn't be afraid of him. I shouldn't be afraid of grandfather of Laurie because for he's got kind eyes. Looking at the eyes of that portrait, she says, I shouldn't be afraid of this old man because his eyes his eyes seem to be kind. Though his mouth is grim and he looks as if he had a tremendous will of his own. He might be having his tremendous will of his own. He isn't as handsome as my grandfather. So, the grandfather in the portrait may not be as handsome as my grandfather, but I like this portrait. I like this man in the portrait. And when the second time door was opened, who was there behind her? The grandfather. Now look at here. Thank you, ma'am, said a gruff voice behind her. So when she admired the person of that portrait, whose portrait was there, that person is just behind her. And he thanked Joe. And to her great surprise, old Mr. Lawrence, the grandfather of Joe, the grandfather of Joe, uh, the grandfather of Lorry, sorry, the grandfather of Lorry. Yes, poor Joe blushed. Blush, that means become very ashamed or felt ashamed, embarrassed. Poor Joe blushed till she couldn't blush any redder, and her heart began to beat uncomfortably because without turning back, she was talking about grandfather, and that grandfather was just behind her now. So poor just felt very embarrassed or ashamed till she couldn't blush any reader, and her heart began to beat uncomfortably fast as she thought what she had said. She thought that what she had said. For a minute, a wild desire to run away possessed her. She got an idea of running from that place, running out of that place. But that was cowardly. Running from that place was a cowardly. And the girls would laugh at her if she had if she had run from there. Then other girl sisters would have laughed at him, would have laughed at her. So she resolved, she determined to stay and get out of the scrape as she as she could. Get out of the scrape, that means she decided to get out of this difficulty or the embarrassing situation as she could. A second look showed her, a second look showed her that the living eyes under the bushy eyebrows. This is the description of uh, grandfather. Eyebrows were kind even than the painted ones. Actually, the eyes before the eyebrows were more kind than the eyes in the portrait. And there was a slight twinkle in them, which lessened her fear a good deal. And because looking at grandfather and his kind eyes, her fear lessened. The gruff voice was gruffer than the ever, as the old man said abruptly after the dreadful pause. So you are not afraid of me, he said. Hey, hey, girl, you are not afraid of me? Not much, sir. I am afraid, but not much. And you don't? Not much, sir. I am not that much afraid of you. And you don't think me as a handsome as your grandfather? Not quite, sir. And you don't think me as handsome as your grandfather? Not quite, sir. And I've got a tremendous wealth. Have I? I only said I thought so. Joe says, I only thought that you got a tremendous wealth. But you like me in spite of it. But you like me. Yes, I do, sir. So you also, I also like you, and you also like me. That answer, that answer please old gentleman that she likes him, and he also likes her. So that answer pleased the old gentleman. He gave a short laugh, shook hands with her, and putting his finger under her chin. You know, this part of our face is called the chin. Turned up her face, examined it gravely, completely, and let it go, saying with a nod, you got your grandfather's spirit. Your grandfather had a spirit, and you have also that spirit. If you haven't this face, he was a fine man, your grandfather. Now, the grandfather of Lori admires the grandfather of Joe, saying, he was a fine man, my dear, but what is better? He was a brave. Joe, your grandfather was a brave and an honest person or honest one, and I was proud to be his friend. So, I am proud to be his friend. I am proud to be the friend of your grandfather. Then she says, thank you, sir. And Joe was quite comfortable. The tension is released. And after that, for it suited her exactly. So that comfort is suited for her. What? What? Now, my dear friends, uh, we should stop here today for the day. Next part of this lesson will be taken tomorrow. Questions. Tomorrow we will finish this lesson and we will start the brainstorming. I'm going to ask you some questions, and in some questions I will help you. But your efforts is must. Your efforts are must. You should try. Okay. So I all the best. A great day ahead. Thank you.